So Berserk panels part 3, let's discuss. Now I'm going to start out with a panel that really doesn't give off the cool as hell berserker armor slashing demons kind of vibe. However, in the grand scheme of Berserk, it is extremely important because this image expands the Berserk universe beyond the confines of Midland, Tudor, and the European setting of Berserk. It is Miura's way of adding diversity into the world of Berserk by introducing to the reader an empire that is vast, strong, and has the ability to topple the most powerful European armies of Berserk's universe. Miura not only makes them diverse but also shifts them away from simply being token diversity characters. Calling the cushions and the Bakiraka token diversity characters, by the way, is an insult in and of itself, because these guys have their own nuances, their own dreams, their own skills, and have created plans of their own during the course of the series. Now, this image represents two things about the cushions. One, that their military force is to be reckoned with, because you can see soldiers as far beyond as the eye can see, and two, the ambition of their king and ruler Ganishka, who sought to unleash such terror on the European empires of Berserk. Let us dissect the first factor. You could have an army the size of a country, but if it is not managed properly, it cannot stand its ground against a less superior force. Ganishka's brilliance lies in that he not only has the numbers, but the organization and discipline needed to carry out a successful military maneuver. And this image is proof of that. Let me dive a bit deeper. The gigantic elephant clad in cushion cultural markings is the first line of defense, the first cavalry, and works as both an offensive line against the enemy and also works as a tool of intimidation against any foe who dare come against it. Behind the mammoth we see a line of soldiers mounted on horses which form the second or actual cavalry. This is the second line of defense against anyone who dares pass the first cavalry. Behind that you have the actual infantry corps who use a variety of land warfare tactics to succeed in battle. So Ganishka unleashing such might against a weakened Midland just shows that he means business and would do anything to expand his empire and take the throne for himself. However, such was not the case, because even if Ganishka and his forces were strong, they were no match for the tactical brilliance and sheer majesty of a reborn Griffith. The Hawk of Light's God Hand cheat code was so powerful that Ganishka was destined to become a tree in the long run. To end this section, it's clear that the Millennium Falcon arc couldn't have shined if it weren't for the cushions and their influence, particularly the Bakiraka, whose actions are paramount to the conclusion of Berserk. Now let's move on to the next panel. To the general viewer watching this video, this image might showcase the peak of humanity's ability to create an expansive infrastructure that promises a better life. A kingdom so abundant that you don't have to worry about starving, which is a big thing in the Berserk universe. You have all your basic needs met and you aren't forced to do some critical thinking or ask yourself some harsh questions, because you know that the Hawk of Light will continue to guide you towards a better future. That is the majesty and power that this image represents. However, for the veteran Berserk fan, this image represents nothing short of a slaughterhouse where the masses of sheep are being gathered en masse for an eventual ritual sacrifice, where they will all, in one go, leave the world thinking that they should have doubted the Hawk, they should have doubted the apostles, and that they should have known better. This panel was drawn by Miura after the Fantasia arc, and it shows the might of Griffith post-rebirth. This is his kingdom, which is nothing short of a heaven for its inhabitants who have, prior to this, only seen war, famine, and misery their entire lives. The Hawk of Light Griffith, in writing his own story by his lonesome, has essentially blinded the world with his majesty by now, leaving no one to doubt his credentials or call him a phony. The true reality of this panel was shown to the readers during chapter 336 of the manga. Aptly titled Pandemonium, the chapter shows the dark side of the kingdom as experienced by Rickert. If you look closely to the far end of this image with the black blob covering the sky behind the castle, you would know what kind of monsters reside there. Apostles of all kinds, begging to unleash carnage upon unsuspecting residents the moment they're given the order by the Hawk of Light. The whole scenario with Griffith's kingdom is quite complex. What I theorize is a situation or an event greater than the mock eclipse of the Conviction arc and the events that take place at the end of the Millennium Falcon arc. I don't think all of humanity would be wiped out, because bear in mind, characters like Nina are also present in the Empire, so she might be the light that saves people from utter destruction. That being said, the destruction would be a sight to see because Casca is present in the kingdom as well, and because of the fact that she has the brand of sacrifice unattended to, can be the catalyst that prompts the apostles to go berserk in the kingdom. No matter how you see it, the kingdom is a melting pot that is ready to blow up at any moment. The next image that I want to discuss comes from the conclusion of the Millennium Falcon arc. The giant tree that you see before you symbolizes the ambitions and designs of two men coming to a head in a final bout that decides who comes out on top. The two men that I'm talking about are Griffith and Ganishka. Now allow me to explain. Ganishka's ambition is directly linked to Griffith's own and vice versa. You could say that in a world where Griffith did not write his own story and Ganishka Ganishka never existed, Griffith wouldn't have become the god that he is. Griffith wrote Ganishka's presence and his eventual Frankensteinish transformation for a reason. He wanted to gain the trust of the people of Midland by saving them from literal hell, as was Ganishka's final form. Ganishka's ambition here is that he wanted to fly too close to the sun, and wanted to challenge the god hand. After realizing his hierarchical position when confronted with Griffith's beauty, Ganishka in his desperation wanted ultimate power. In order to ensure his dreams weren't broken, he broke the ultimate taboo and became the tree that you see before you. The story as it unfolded resulted in one man coming out on top, and that was the Hawk of Light, who had written the story in such a manner that it resulted in him coming out on top from the get-go. So far, I've been discussing a lot related to the Millennium Falcon and Fantasia arcs, but that's the thing. Miura's artistic prowess spiked up significantly during the two arcs, and the next panel is proof of that statement. Dragons have been a major plot element for a variety of different anime and manga series. For a majority of Berserk's run, dragons were relegated to either old relics of the past or limited to folklore, but after the advent of Fantasia, a drastic turn of events caused them to come to life. After Fantasia, there weren't just dragons that took the center stage. Ogres, trolls, and other creatures also made their way from the astral world into the physical world. The beauty of this dragon is that it is a culmination of mankind's desire for the fantastical. However, while mankind's dream has certainly come to fruition, it is not without its sacrifice, as the advent of Fantasia also brought with it the impending danger of these creatures when they go berserk. Get it? With their advent, things became tough for the people of the world, and their only solace came with the Hawk of Light and his ability to defeat these creatures. This dragon symbolizes both terror and the continuation of Griffith's story as written by himself, in which he created the problem for which he and he alone could provide the solution. All of the creatures and characters I've discussed so far have had a tremendous impact on the story of Berserk. Their presence has been vital to the overall storyline, and their influence has shaped Berserk into this fantastical tale of Dungeons and Dragons. But in all of Berserk, no apostle, no god hand, and no human being has had more influence and power than this guy. Schnoz, or Timimorio, is by far one of the cutest characters in the entire series. Within the Berserk fandom, there are characters that cause a lot of debate, but somehow Schnoz has been one of those characters that has the ability to bring the fandom together, to celebrate the fact that we have this guardian deity watching over Berserk and not allowing the fandom to pummel itself into a cesspool of toxicity. While there have been outliers within the community, what is clear to all the fans is that Schnoz is the coolest creature in Berserk, and there is no one or nothing that can rival him. While the first line that I spoke in this section is clearly meant to be a joke, there is some truth to it. Ever since his introduction in chapter 215, Schnoz has been a fan favorite, with memes about him spanning across the community even to this day. In my own circle, I use this meme on a regular because in the midst of all the conversation surrounding Berserk, it offers some sort of relief if things get heated or provides a moment of laughter. Such is the influence of Schnoz and the influence of Miura, because if it weren't for this character, Berserk would not be the same. Thanks for watching.